Welcome to day 1 of Take 10. Now Take 10 is just the very beginning of your Headspace journey. Remember, it's just 10 minutes a day for 10 days. But before you get started, I'd really like you just to take a few minutes out to watch these very short animations. Now, to get the best from your meditation, to get the very best from your 10 minutes, it's all about approaching the exercise in the right way. Approach it in the right way and you're going to love meditation. You're going to get a huge amount out of it. But approach it in the wrong way and you'll probably get quite frustrated. So it's really worth taking just a little bit of time out to watch these 4 separate animations. The first one is called the mind.
Have you ever tried throwing a stone into a very still, clear pool of water? If you have, then you'll have noticed that as soon as the stone hits the surface, it creates sort of ripples on the surface. And as you keep doing that, so more and more ripples occur. And increasingly, the pond becomes very sort of cloudy. I think the mind's quite similar to this. Every sort of new thought has the potential to create this feeling of kind of disturbance or agitation in the body and mind. It doesn't have to, but that's normally how it feels before we start to meditate. But as you begin to meditate, as you learn to meditate, those ripples start to sort of calm down. You don't see quite so many. And when that happens, you start to get a bit more clarity. You get to actually look into the pool of water to see what's in there. It might not always be what you want to see or what you expect to see. In fact, sometimes you might see an old traffic cone or a shopping trolley, a shoe, something at the bottom which you don't especially like, but you need to be able to see these things in order to let go of them. And when you let go of them, life feels a little lighter.
Sounds pretty nice, right? That idea of life feeling a little bit lighter, all the ripples on the surface of the pond just slowly settling down. But the funny thing is, when most people try this exercise, what they instinctively try to do is try to stop thoughts, try to clear the mind. But actually, when you do that, you've probably already found this in the past, it tends to encourage even more thoughts. So this is all about stepping back, allowing thoughts and feelings to pass, and getting a little bit of space, a little bit of perspective on those thoughts. I think this next animation, Expectations, says it all.
So I think one of the best ways to understand the dynamics of the mind at play during meditation is to imagine yourself sat down on the edge of a very busy road. Now, before you start to meditate, it's a little bit like having a blindfold on. You're aware of all the sort of the background noise, the stress of the environment, but you're not really able to see what it is that's causing the stress. Now, when you start to meditate, it's like taking the blindfold off, and all of a sudden you see much more clearly the thoughts and feelings in the mind. You get to understand why and how you feel the way you do. The temptation, of course, is to run out into the road and start trying to control the traffic, chasing after the sort of the pleasant thoughts, trying to stop the unpleasant thoughts. But that's really quite exhausting, and that's why we tend to get stressed as often as we do. So meditation takes a slightly different approach. It's about holding your seat on the side of the road, getting used to allowing that autonomous flow of traffic to just come and go, the thoughts and the feelings of the mind. And when you do that, what you'll find is that the volume of traffic on the road starts to decrease and the space between the cars starts to increase. And that's the place of calm and clarity that feels so nice.
Makes a lot of sense, right? Not getting caught up in all the traffic, chasing after the pleasant thoughts, trying to resist all the unpleasant thoughts, but instead just stepping back and allowing thoughts to come and go, allowing feelings to come and go. But there's a certain way of doing that, and it's an effortless way. Because the temptation, right, is to think, okay, I want to get the best out of this exercise, so I'm going to try really hard. But if you think about it, trying really hard is the antithesis of relaxation. So just check out this next animation. It's called Effort, and I think it'll give you a really good steer on how to approach the exercise, how to get the very best from it.
So I think when you're learning to meditate, it can be quite tempting to apply a lot of effort. The idea being that the more effort you apply, perhaps the quicker the results or the better the results. But meditation's a little bit different from that. In fact, I think meditation is a lot like sleep in that way. I don't know if you've ever experienced that feeling of lying in bed and not being able to go to sleep. But the more you try to go to sleep, the further away you move from it. You can't force sleep, right? It's exactly the same with meditation. You can't force meditation. You can't force a state of relaxation and calm. It's something that happens very naturally, gradually on its own. I think a nice metaphor, analogy for this is an idea of sort of taming a wild horse. If you look at how a wild horse is tamed, rather than sort of pinning it down in one place, the horse is led out on a very long rope and put in a big, open, spacious field. The horse runs around feeling like it's got all the space in the world. Very slowly the rope is brought in. The horse adjusts to this feeling until it comes to a natural place of rest. So we're looking to do just the same thing with the mind in meditation. Not trying to pin it down in one place, but bring it to a natural place of rest.
So it's just a really useful image or idea to remember. That idea of the horse having lots and lots of space and just allowing the mind to come to a natural place of rest. But before I take you on to the exercise itself, there's just one more animation I'd like to show you. It's my personal favourite. It's called Blue Sky.
Take a moment to think how it feels when you imagine a very clear blue sky. My guess is it feels pretty nice, right? All that space. But when you think about a sky which is very sort of cloudy and perhaps kind of a little dark, you don't naturally feel so good. Now, the strange thing is, even on a very cloudy day, the blue sky is still there, right? If you get in a plane and you fly up through the clouds, the sky's still blue. It's just that we forget. We get so kind of obsessed by the clouds, so fixated by the clouds, that we forget that there's actually still blue sky on the other side. This is a really useful analogy for meditation. Rather than trying to create a state of blue sky, a state of happiness and calm, it's more a question of sort of setting up a deck chair in the back garden, just sitting back and waiting for the clouds to pass.